Welcome to Sober Talk. I'm Dennis and I'm an alcoholic. Sober today thanks to Alcoholics Anonymous. If you or anyone you know is struggling with alcohol, please call Alcoholics Anonymous on 1300 222222 or visit their website at aa.org.au. I'll just run through the preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problems and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for a membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. It is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety.
Thank you to my home group for having me. I'm Jhai, I'm alcoholic. Formalities. This is my home group. I'm a relatively new member, but it's definitely been a massive shift for my recovery being here. I have a sponsor. I've worked through the steps and I try and apply them to my life to the best of my ability. And I have a sobriety date, which is the 24th of the 7th, 2022. I turned 3 last week. I had a really lengthy phone call with my grand sponsor on Monday afternoon after my sponsor had been suggesting for 2 weeks that I call my grand sponsor. And I was like, yeah, I'll get around to it. 2 weeks later, I finally took the suggestion and it changed my perspective entirely. But he noted that, the statistics for turning 3 are so low. Not many people make it to this point. And, getting here has definitely felt like that. That first 12 months of sobriety felt like I was fighting for my life every single day. And then I got there and it felt like the longest year of my life. And then I got to 2 and I thought that I knew everything in the world and that I was cured. And now I've just hit 3 and I realize that I know absolutely nothing. And that's such a humbling, wonderful place to be. I've learned so much in 3 years, but 3 years is really no time at all. And it was also reminded, I'm not a baby anymore and I'm a toddler now. And so all of the emotions that I've experienced in the last couple of weeks when everything did not go as I had planned are also on point for a 3-year-old because I haven't really got a handle on the emotion thing yet. But I'm working on it, it's progress, not perfection. I was supposed to go away in the 2.5 weeks ago. I go back to work tomorrow, but I got really sick and God had other plans for me. Even though it was a God-given holiday, God took it away really quickly as well. And at the time I was really disappointed about it. But this afternoon I got a book back that I lent to somebody because since being in recovery, I read a lot of poetry about God. I love other people's conceptions of God and the way that they talk about their God and what that means to them. But somebody gave me back one of my favorite books and I was flicking through it in the car and this little thing popped up. But it's not AA literature, but it's funny. 1 second, please. I was sitting in the car and I opened it and it said, "A great pilgrimage. I felt in need of a great pilgrimage, so I sat still for 3 days and God came to me." I was going to go and chase angels in caves and, in holy places. And actually at the end of 2.5 weeks, I've had a massive shift inside and I can't really put any words to that. But my sponsor kept saying on the other side of this, all of this stuff that's happening, you will be different and you will be changed. And 2 weeks ago, I couldn't see it. I was so in my jar and I was so pickled and I just couldn't, everything felt wrong and nothing felt right and nothing was going to plan. And now 2.5 weeks later, everything is settled and I'm not sick anymore and I can finally sort of see the forest for the trees, and I don't know what the shift is, but I feel so much softer. I've had several really big surrenders in the last few weeks. And I thought that I had a really good understanding of my God and my faith and all of that. But actually the more pain that I've been in the last few weeks has just pushed me closer and closer to my God, whatever that is. And I didn't have any of that before recovery. I couldn't stop drinking and all I wanted to do was die. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to live with it. I didn't know how to live without it, especially in the end. 3 years ago, I was still in the hospital waiting to be transferred to Adelaide Clinic after a serious suicide attempt. It was my second coma of 2022. And the doctors said that it was medically unexplainable how I was alive, but it was definitely a God job. And when I look back at my life now throughout all of my drinking and the way that I lived, I know that there was so many of them. There are people in this room that have dragged me out of gutters and thrown me into hospitals when I've needed it and stuff. And I just don't live like that today. That was only 3 years ago. And today I have at 2 years sober, I opened my own business, which was also just a gift from God. And at the moment, it's the only thing that hasn't really been stripped back. And I know that that's because it is a gift and that God will show me how to make it work for me. Everything that the business has given me has been nothing to do with the things that you would think. I thought I would open a shop and learn how to run a business, and that happened really quickly. But actually what God is teaching me in there is how to have boundaries and how to look after myself. And God's given me this space where I can love and nurture people the way that I know that I can. And I could never do that before recovery. I was so selfish. I think I've always probably been a love bug, but never really knew how to tap into that because I just didn't understand the world, and it felt so excruciating. And I didn't know how to be here. I didn't know how to be anywhere. I just I don't know, I hear people talk about their drinking and they say that they drank so that they could connect, but I drank so that I could disconnect because I always felt too in touch with everything. But another gift of my recovery is in my recovery, I started defrosting and I started getting to know myself a little bit more. And I did get an autism assessment done last year, and I've got a big tick of approval for that. So I'm definitely I'm an autistic alcoholic person trying to learn how to be in the world now. But the more that I know about myself, the more it just keeps unfolding, But yeah, gift from God was definitely my shop, and it hasn't been taken away yet, but lots of things have been stripped back in the last few weeks. I was supposed to go on holiday, but I had to say goodbye to one of my favoriteest little pals in the whole world. I just spent 15 years with this weird, raggedy old little cat, and I had to hold her and be, show her how to go to the other side. And if that's not a spiritual experience, I don't know what is. So there has been so much pain and so much laughter and so much crying all in 2.5 weeks. And I've definitely fallen out of it a different person on the other side, but that was promised to me. I've been thinking about Arthur a lot actually in the last few weeks when you say that, if you don't have any problems, then God's forgotten about you. So I've felt really blessed in the last few weeks by all of my problems. It's everything that gets said in these rooms ripples into all of us, right? We leave different after every meeting, and sometimes that's for the better and sometimes it can be for the worse. And there's nothing worse than when you're in a really bad way and recovery or a meeting doesn't hit or you're just not hearing what you need to. But it's in those moments that you really have to turn inward and go to that thing that is bigger than you, because no human power can relieve me of my alcoholism. I definitely have noted my powerlessness over the last few weeks, especially, it's so obvious when you first get in and step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives have become unmanageable. And I am 100% powerless over alcohol, and I'm powerless over lots of things, but having that real surrender, how powerless I am over life this week or this last few weeks has been really gut punching. But yeah, I don't know. I had a big cry. I have done nothing but cry. But I had a big cry yesterday. Somebody sent me something and it just says something along the lines of I have things today that I used to pray for. And that is so true. All I've done is sort of focus on all the stuff that I don't, that has been taken away or whatever, and been real pity party about it, even though it sucks. But I when you bring it back to the real basics, today I'm a sober person and I get to walk through the world with my head up high and I'm accountable. I can rock up, I can show up, come to my home group. I put out chairs, once upon a time who I was would never have cared about anything like that. And now it's one of the lights of my life to sit out there and take everybody's names and give you all a hug and ask how you are. And, things have happened to me since coming to these rooms. The person that finally 12-stepped me sits next to me tonight as well. And like my family had tried so long, because I come from a really long line of like crazy alcoholics, but just couldn't hear it until I was ready. But that last little bit, that last drink, just absolutely over the edge. It was like gates of insanity or death, and I was at both, but I wouldn't die. And so I finally could hear it, the message, that there was a solution for me. There was a solution for my living problem. I don't keep coming back here because I have a drinking problem. I keep coming back because I have a thinking problem. I keep coming back because I have a living problem, and I need a solution for how to be in the world. And it's in the steps, it's in the traditions, and the promises have come true in my life. Like, I have proof of God in me, in my life, in the people near me. Like, the ripple effect of my recovery into the rooms and then outside of the rooms is so huge, and it's so beautiful. But like, you sort of miss it, you get so wrapped up in life and in living this really good life that you sort of forget what it was like. But I went to my first home group before I was here tonight, just because it didn't feel right not celebrating with them. And there was a newcomer there, and I'd answered his call, and I'd said to him on the phone, "I'll meet you." Like, this was months ago, and I didn't even remember it. But he said that he told the story tonight, and he said that I'd used the word magic. You have to come in, I'll meet you at the front. Magic happens in here. And that's exactly what happens, and like 4.5 months later, he was sitting in that meeting this afternoon, still sober. And like, you just forget about the phone calls, and you forget about the people whose hands that you shake, because you just get wrapped up in it all. But like, there's nothing short of a miracle what happens in here. Even when you don't think that it's working, it's still working. Like, I'm blessed to live this free life today because I kept coming back. And I did the suggested things, even though at 3 years sober, I still wait 2 weeks to do the suggested things. And of course, they always work. Because I'm alcoholic, and I will be every single day. But thankfully today, I have a daily reprieve. I know what's wrong with me, and I know what will help. And generally what will help is helping other alcoholics. I have a primary purpose. And all I looked for all my life was a purpose. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point? There can be no God. It doesn't make any sense. And within 3 years, like, all I talk about really, or all I really want to talk about is God. And like, I do have a purpose today. It's wild. I have a pretty strict morning routine, although it's been pretty lax the last few weeks. But I will definitely, I wake up and the first thing that I say is God, and then I do my morning prayer. I do a lot of reading, many readings in the mornings, and I do my morning meditation. I get about my day, and at nighttime I thank God for another safe and sober day, and I do my night meditation. And it's all of that stuff that keeps me running well. I do minimum of 3 meetings a week, and that's a good maintenance amount. I just this has to be the base of my life for everything else to work. And I know when I've stayed away for too long that everything starts falling apart. I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to the group for having me share, and I'm so grateful that I have a God in my life today, because it is not of me to have stayed sober in the last few weeks. At the beginning of the year, I really got very honest, and I used the steps to give up cigarettes. But on Sunday night, I had a I don't care moment, and I bought a packet of cigarettes. I lit one, and I couldn't even finish it, because that's something that I prayed for, right? And God has taken away from me, and now the obsession is removed, and it no longer serves me. I have to find the other things, and that's just pushes me more closer into the sunlight of the Spirit and closer to God. And I really hope that I get to do this thing for the rest of my life, but it's just for today, one foot in front of the other. And I really have to remember to keep it simple. So thank you so much for asking me to share.
AA has more than 2 million recovering alcoholics throughout the world. In Australia, there are about 18,000 members. They meet in over 2,000 local meetings spread around the country. Meetings range in size from a handful in some areas to hundreds or more in larger communities. And once again, if anyone is struggling with alcohol issues, please call Alcoholics Anonymous in 1300 222222 or visit their website on aa.org.au.